And one day you wake up and find yourself in the middle of Hollywood, half-naked girls sleeping deeply beside you, and naive rich people for thousands of miles ripe for hustle. Not a bad morning. The moment I walked into the stairway, wearing that skinny black tie, I was in an ironic parallel world. The beautiful girl's apartment, head trip or not, may very well have been the same from the opening sequence of Pulp Fiction. What a jolt, this deja vu. And baked, of course, in my usual stumbling way, I got lost in the corridors. I eventually thudded through a trash exit, setting off a screaming emergency beeper, and in a rush to avoid security, tripped over my own shoelaces. I torpedoed like a buffoon, swung up like a tornado, slipped through the barbed wire fence like a ninja. After so many years, I was now a hop, skip, and a jump away from the touted land of Hollywood. And what a perfect Cali day. 70 degrees, blue sky, sun shining, not a cloud. The ex-autoslave emerging from desperate Midwestern values, finally to rumble those fabled avenues. I'd expected Lamborghinis, French maids, fortresses like Cambodian drug lords. But these back alley neighborhoods off the strip, all I found are cramped streets of average suburban design. Onwards to the tourist nightmare, that mythological terrifying side of Hollywood. The scum side, the mug-happy side, the soulless black and drag of strip clubs, pimps, pushers, conmen, and such like, where the demon night crawlers stake their claim and the blood of the innocent flows supreme. Okay, whatever. Hollywood Boulevard, the media stairway to heaven. Was it corruption I smelled, the effluvium of 100,000 starry-eyed sheep? The last great Babylon, so we're told, where the weak trample the weak in a primal Agnostopian frenzy. All that desire, all their struggle, only to place a single foot at the incline of a hierarchical trapezoid, slicing through the cartilage and bone, trampling friends and enemies alike to stay ahead of the mongrel leeches slithering below. Progress becomes the ability to sustain the attacks as one fends himself from the devouring onslaught on high. Apart from the famous star-studded sidewalk, Hollywood Boulevard resembles the hotspot of every random college town. You know, that 3-street-long strip where the young go to intoxicate themselves silly and buy piles of comic books, bongs, and random memorabilia. That is pretty much the extent of it. Just this huge 30-block cluster, the apex of hotspot existence. Then bam, you're spit back out into L.A., which is one gigantic mega suburb without a center. It's depressing and shameful. You feel like Jim Carrey at the end of The Truman Show when he rows to the edge of the town and discovers nothing but a soundstage. The world you once knew, which seems so large and endless, is just as phony as Los Angeles itself. The deja vu is there because you've seen it all on the TV before 100 times, except that abandoned factory section you assume exists where Steven Seagal took out an Uzi spraying coke lord surrounded by flame-shooting oil spikes isn't an area at all. That abandoned factory is actually next door to the ice cream store from Grease, is next door to the diner where Pacino meets De Niro in Heat, is next door to the gym from Pumping Iron. The world in your head that seems like an infinite universe is actually a stage prop that lasts 30 blocks, except there are Mexicans everywhere selling fruit on the corner, working the minimum wage shit jobs, and doing just very, very silly things on Spanish infomercials. In front of the Chinese theater, there's a man dressed like Darth Vader, and across the street is a Japanese family taking digital photos in front of a Frankenstein statue. I only take a few steps past Captain Jack Sparrow with a tiny man with a Brooklyn accent offers a limo ride past all the movie star mansions for 30 blocks. How can I deny any plot device from Leprechaun 2? So I haggle, get a ticket for $25, jump in the back of the black stretch with 8 others, and off we go. The glistening wasteland quickly comes into focus as an Arabic driver explains the passing sights over an amplified CB radio. We cruise through Beverly Hills listening to 18 and Life to Go. Dr. Phil's house looks like Jabba the Hutt's palace with this weird circular fortress roof, that bald head and mustache on the body of a pasty white elephant-sized worm. Ozzy's is the same from the MTV show, but the Prince of Darkness has Christmas wreaths all over his gates. Tom Cruise has a party shack across the street from his $50 million mansion. Leonardo DiCaprio lives in Joe DiMaggio's old crib and has a $10 million personal golf course for a backyard. Bill Cosby has a little black golf caddy statues all over his front lawn. Michael Douglas has 10 of the exact same Porsche lined in front of his house, of his humongous garage, each one of them a different color of the rainbow. Frodo's Hobbit house from Lord of the Rings is kitty corner from Tom Hanks' estate and hidden behind thick stone walls. For some reason, Universal decided to film that segment smack dab in the middle of the movie star Death Zone. What's so brilliantly pleasing is the funny mushroom-shaped Shire chimney is high as a flagpole and visible for all to see. It pops over the horizon during sundown, and as the sunlight refracts off its pinkish tan hue, the colossal chimney resembles a 20-foot-high erection. And Tom Hanks pulls into his parking lot every night and sees this. When he looks out his front window, when he's on the commode, it's the sort of thing that would drive a man to watch Mazes and Monsters. The acting elite own this town without question. Restaurants, hotels, movie theaters, apartment buildings, Scientology centers, pyramid scheme overlords and vultures, all of them. The greater their power, the bigger the mansion and the higher the placement upon Hollywood Hills, securely embedded near the famous Hollywood sign glowing outwards like a hypnotic occult emblem. Only George Lucas and Steven Spielberg come within a few yards of its foothold. Perhaps it causes cancer or emits mind-controlling invisible laser beams that keep the racket scheme in progressive, unending motion like a renegade dishwasher in loop. Watch them glide, plastic and immune, guided by the invisible strings of the marionette. Yet who is the puppet master? Who is the puppet master?